Good evening. The May 20th, 2020 virtual meeting of the Arundel County Council is now in session. The purpose of this meeting is to hear testimony on the proposed FY21 County General and Board of Education budget. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Ms. Fiedler?
Present.
Ms. Rodvian?
Present.
Ms. Hare?
Present.
Ms. Lacey?
Present.
Mr. Volkey?
Present.
Mr. Pruski?
Here.
Ms. Pickard?
Present.
Madam Chair, all council members are present.
Thank you so much. Please pause for the invocation this evening, led by Councilwoman Lacey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I ask that everyone take a moment to silently reflect on what we are going to do tonight.
Thank you. Ms. Fiedler will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, please read the Open Meetings Act statement.
Madam Chair, my apologies. I thought I had it in front of me. I'll be with you in one moment. Again, I apologize. The county attorney has asked that I read the following statement. The Maryland Open Meetings Act, a state law, requires public meetings to be open to the public and to be held in places reasonably accessible to individuals who would like to attend these meetings. General Provisions, Article Section 3, 102C. The virtual format of this meeting of the County Council is due to the COVID-19 emergency and is necessary in light of the serious health risks associated with public gatherings, as well as the governor's various executive orders limiting public gatherings. While a virtual meeting of this type was not envisioned by the Open Meetings Act, steps have been taken to ensure that this virtual meeting includes alternate accessibility features that the Open Meetings Act Compliance Board and the courts have reviewed and approved, such as having a call-in phone number that allows anyone with a telephone to call and listen to the meeting, broadcasting the meeting with video and audio on cable TV and on the web, and allowing written public comments to the legislation be filed with the clerk and considered by the council. The County Office of Law has opined that the public access provided by this technology makes this virtual meeting reasonably accessible to the public and therefore complies with the Open Meetings Act.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, please read the ethics statement.
The Ethics Commission has asked that I advise you that under certain circumstances, members of the public may qualify as lobbyists when they testify before the County Council. If so, the law requires that certain information be filed with the Ethics Commission. The chairman of the Ethics Commission has asked that those who wish to testify in any form review the general information on lobbying sheet located on the Ethics website under Forms and Publications. If there are any questions about lobbying requirements, please contact the Ethics Commission at 410-222-4413.
Thank you. Because this is a virtual meeting, we cannot provide reasonable seating facilities for the news media or the public, and we cannot be physically located in Annapolis, the county seat. Therefore, may I have a motion to suspend rules 3-103, 3-105, and 3-106?
Councilman Pruski, so moved.
May I have a second?
Lacey, second.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, can you please call the roll on the motion to suspend rules 3-103, 3-105, and 3-106?
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Hare?
Aye.
Ms. Lacy,
Aye.
Mr. Volkey,
Aye.
Mr. Pruski,
Aye.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The motion to suspend rules 3-103, 3-105, and 3-106 is passed.
Thank you. Is there any item any council member would like to place on the agenda this evening? Seeing none, may I have a motion that the partial reading of any bill, resolution, amendment to a bill or resolution, or minutes constitutes the reading of the whole?
Lacy, so moved.
May I have a second?
Rod Van second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Madam Secretary, please read the titles of the budget bills.
Bill number 2620, an ordinance concerning annual budget and appropriation ordinance of Anne Arundel County. Bill number 2720, an ordinance concerning tax levies, special community benefit districts, shore erosion control districts, and waterways improvement districts. Bill number 2820, an ordinance concerning tax levies, Arundel Gateway Special Taxing District. Bill number 2920, an ordinance concerning tax levies, Arundel Mills Special Taxing District. Bill number 3020, an ordinance concerning tax levies, Dorchester Special Taxing District. Bill number 3120, an ordinance concerning tax levies, Farmington Village Special Taxing District. Bill number 3220, an ordinance concerning tax levies, National Business Park Special Taxing District. Bill number 3320, an ordinance concerning tax levies, National Business Park North Special Taxing District. Bill number 3420, an ordinance concerning tax levies, Two Rivers Special Taxing District. Bill number 3520, an ordinance concerning tax levies, Village South at Chapel Special Taxing District. Bill number 3620, an ordinance concerning property tax and semi-annual payment service charge.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. This is Allison Pickard, Council Chair, D2. I'd like to introduce the following people who will be making brief statements on the budget. We'll be pulling in Mr. Jim Beecham, Budget Officer for Anne Arundel County. Dr. George Arlotto, Superintendent, Anne Arundel County Public Schools. Michelle Corkadell, President, Board of Education of Anne Arundel County. Russell Leone, President of the Teachers Association of Anne Arundel County. I'm seeing everybody pop up on the screen. Helen Wilkerson, President of the Secretaries and Assistants Association of Anne Arundel County. Lisa Shore, Secretary, Anne Arundel County Council of PTAs, and Skip Auld, CEO, Anne Arundel County Public Libraries. I think we have everyone. So with that, good evening, everyone. Mr. Jim Beecham, you will go first, our Budget Director.
Thank you. Madam Chair and council members, my name is Jim Beecham, Budget Officer for Anne Arundel County. Please allow me to give you and the participating public an overview of County Executive Stuart Pittman's proposed budget for fiscal year 2021. The proposed budget seeks to find that point of balance between responding to the COVID-19 pandemic in a responsible way while continuing to provide the services our citizens deserve and expect. The FY 21 general fund proposed budget is $1,719,224,300. This represents a minor increase of 1.4% or $23 million over the current year's budget. The slight increase in the projected budget can largely be attributed to the tax rate changes implemented last year. Otherwise, revenue projections for FY 21 would have decreased by $64 million from FY 20. For FY 21, the income tax rate is proposed to remain the same, and the property tax will see a very small decrease. Overall, property taxes will account for 45% of the total general fund revenue. Local income tax collections are expected to feel the impact of the economic hardships our citizens and businesses are experiencing. For FY 21, Local income taxes make up about 34% of the general fund revenue. Let me add that utility user rates will not be increased either. Expenditures in this budget generally follow the pattern of expenditures in the FY20 budget. Spending will be constrained by continuing a hiring freeze that was implemented this past April, as well as other efforts to direct resources towards a response to the COVID-19 pandemic, all within the envelope of lower revenues than had been previously projected. The Board of Education is the single largest component of spending, with 44% of the total appropriations. The school is funding the school system with the maintenance of effort amount of $748 million, an increase of $14.8 million over last year. Anne Arundel Community College will receive $45.4 million in the proposed budget, and the public library system will receive $24.6 million. Public safety is the second largest component of spending, allocated a total of $340 million, or 20% of the appropriations. Public safety is important every year, but this year particularly so, to ensure that we have the ability to respond to COVID-19. Public safety positions are not subject to the hiring freeze. A point of emphasis in this year's budget is strengthening the health department and its affiliated services to the community, the Departments of Aging and Social Services. This is demonstrated in enhanced funding for school nurses, continued funding for the Wellmobile, and other frontline efforts that will have a direct impact on the health and welfare of our citizens, both young and old. The Capital Improvement Program, or CIP, covers the proposed capital budget for FY21, plus the following 5 years for a 6-year plan. The total increases in debt service to fund the CIP over those 6 years is below the amount indicated in our debt affordability model. The immediate economic outlook did not have as direct of an impact on the CIP. These capital projects are long-lived assets that will prepare us for the future. For FY21, the proposed capital budget includes $352,637,600 in projects funded by all sources. Approximately 42% of that is for the Board of Education projects. This year, the Permanent Public Improvements, or PPI fund, will kick off with almost $42 million in capital projects for transportation improvements, public safety infrastructure, and school construction projects. All in all, this is a responsible and balanced budget that is dialed in to address the unique circumstances we now face. This administration has been forced to throttle some ongoing initiatives and delay implementing other new initiatives. But we have maintained and even strengthened some of those core services that our citizens and businesses count on and expect from Anne Arundel County. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to provide an overview of the proposed fiscal year 2021 budget. Please remember that a complete proposed budget is available for viewing or download on the county website, aacounty.org, or through Anne Arundel Public Libraries. Thank you. Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Beecham. Thank you for being with us this evening. Next, we have Dr. George Arlotto, Superintendent, Anne Arundel County Public Schools. Good evening, sir. You're on mute, sir.
I thought that was going to be done for me. Let's try that. How about there?
There you go. Good job.
Fantastic. Took me a little while. Thank you. So Ms. Corkadell does have some remarks, and she is certainly going to focus on the operating budget. So let me thank Chairwoman Pickard and members of the council. I do want to be brief tonight, and Ms. Corkadell as well. We are in the middle of we are beginning to prepare for our board meeting this evening. But I do want to thank you for your ongoing work as a council. We are a better school system because of your work. And again, I want to thank you for that. Ms. Corkadell is going to talk a little bit about the operating budget. So I'd like to focus my brief remarks on the capital budget and one item that is critically important in our capital budget, and that's the West County Elementary School. We requested $3 million in design and construction funding for this sorely needed project, which is critical to addressing class size issues in the western portion of our county. The project went unfunded and was also zeroed out of the 6-year plan. As a county project, it does not exist at this point. West County Elementary School was a big part of the discussion in the recent drawing of attendance boundaries for the new Crofton High School, which will open in the fall. It will help ease overcrowding at Piney Orchard Elementary School, and I urge you to fund it in this year's budget. The need to upgrade and renovate our facilities reaches far beyond West County, as you know, and should you also be able to find additional money, I ask that you please direct it to help reduce our rapidly growing and critical maintenance backlog. So with that, again, I thank you for your partnership and for your time and investment, continued investment in our children. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Ms. Corkadell, President of the School Board. You have the floor.
Thank you. Good evening, Chairwoman Pickard, Vice Chairwoman Lacey, and members of the Council. I am Michelle Corkadell, President of the Board of Education, and I am pleased to offer a few brief remarks on behalf of my fellow board members. I first want to thank you for your commitment to shepherding the county through these difficult times. There is no manual for this course we are on, and our board deeply appreciates the time you continue to give to our county and especially our children. I also want to thank you for the time spent earlier this month going over the specifics of the budget County Executive Pittman has proposed. It is no secret that the budget is difficult this year, and we are deeply appreciative of the time the county executive, his team, and every one of you have spent on it. If there is additional funding that can be found in the operating budget this year, I would ask that you direct it to the social emotional arena. The needs of our students and families were on the rise well before COVID-19, and we will almost certainly have significantly more issues to address in the coming year. If funding is identified, I suggest that you look at adding more school counselors to the 9 already proposed in this budget and the remaining unfunded school psychologist position we requested. Should additional monies exist, I would urge you to direct them to fund the English language acquisition teachers and aides we requested to help meet the needs of our fastest growing student population. There is no question that you have difficult choices ahead. We remain available to work side by side with you as we move forward for all of our county's residents and children. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Corkadell. Thank you, Dr. Arlotto. Good luck tonight with your own meeting. Virtual Zoom land is busy tonight. We'll continue on with our invited guests here. We have Mr. Russell Leone, President of the Teachers Association of Anne Arundel County. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Council Chair Pickard and members of the Council. I'm Russell Leone, and I'm an elementary school teacher and President of the Teachers Association of Anne Arundel County. First, I want to acknowledge the many residents of our county who have risen to the challenge presented by COVID-19. Thank you to the men and women of the police, fire, and health services who are on the front lines for the well-being and safety of our citizens throughout this pandemic. Also, thank you to our families who have found themselves as partners in education on a whole new level. This has truly been an unforgettable, life-altering journey. Tonight, I'm also here for our educators and our teachers. These 2 months have taught us how essential teachers are to the emotional and social health of our students, in addition to their academic growth. Overnight, we had to shift the very nature and essence of our training as teachers as we moved into a virtual space. Our teachers and educators also serve essential needs for our communities in our own way, providing a familiar and safe space for our students to meet, showing compassion and support in learning, connecting with our students and building stronger relationships. These are all things we've done before, but now in a much different and unfamiliar space. So the normal pattern of years past would see me presenting numbers and statistics with you, but we all know that there's no normal these days. So sometimes I find it difficult for me to fully advocate for our needs because we must recognize the impact of unemployment numbers and the inequities in access to food and resources this crisis has highlighted. But tonight I have to remind you that these have also impacted our teachers and educators and their families. In this shutdown, many of our teachers' spouses have lost jobs. Teachers who relied on a second or third job to cover bills have lost that portion of their income. We must also remember 2008, when we faced another economic challenge, teachers felt the greatest impact and did so for another decade, falling far behind our neighbors in the other service fields. Year after year, we waited our turn and did what we do best. We taught the children of Anne Arundel County. It wasn't until last year, a good year, supported by this council, that we saw a path forward toward equity. We must not let our teachers move backwards. We have felt the outpouring and appreciation and support from our families that we work with as we provide our best to them. And I know several of you have children in our schools and have shared with me the amazing jobs that your children's teachers have done. We must continue to recognize that through this budget. The challenges we are facing now are not going to disappear when the school year begins. Teachers are going to be required to continue to adapt and as we build on lessons we've learned since March 13. It will be essential to keep our teachers here and not looking other places due to compensation gaps. I know it sounds year after year we're here for money, but tonight I'm here for the stability of our workforce. Teachers who stay in their schools build solid relationships with their kids and their community. I'm here for the expertise that teachers who have been well trained here in Anne Arundel County will share and pass on to their colleagues, further enriching the learning experience of our kids. This can only be achieved when we value teachers as professionals that they are. So I ask that you fully support the proposed education budget and honor your past efforts to do what you can to continue to move teachers and educators forward. This really is for our students, for our schools, and for our future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Leone. We will move along with Ms. Helen Wilkerson, President of the Secretaries and Assistants Association of Anne Arundel County.
Thank you and good evening, everyone. Allison Picker, Chairman, Ms. Lacey, Vice Chair, and members of the Anne Arundel County Council. Again, thank you for having me this evening and our ability to speak. This has been a real new norm for all of us on using web and video casting, so I can imagine what it might be. Sometimes the meeting seems even longer. So to get to the point, we are SAAC, of course, the Secretaries and Assistants Association of Anne Arundel County. Our members is comprised mostly of teachers assistants, school-based and non-school-based secretaries, computer technicians, media technicians, and other Unit 4 employees. We are a proud and dedicated group of AACPS employees who enjoy our work and the contribution we make to ensure that instruction is delivered to the children of Anne Arundel County. We ask for your support of the budget recommended by our county executive Stuart Pinnon. This budget recommendation attempts to ensure no reductions in force, layoffs, or furloughs for the employees of the Unit 4. This is extremely important as we prepare reopening or to reopen schools and make sure that learning can and will continue in this unprecedented time. All SAAC members and Unit 4 employees contribute in ways that are not so visible at times. The description will take longer than we have tonight. It will take all our positions and people to ensure that some sort of normal is able to return. It is with great optimism that the County Council see this the same way in which we do. It truly takes a village to educate a child. I believe that there is a lesson to be learned in this chaotic time is that no one can do it alone. No one needs to be alone. The schoolhouse has always been a gathering place of ideas, learning, nurturing, and personalities. It is a place where bright young men and women learn their potential and become model citizens and adults. It will take the return and the continued employment of all categories of employees to continue the mission of educating children for the future. Again, I ask that you support the budget recommendation of our county executive Stuart Pippin, and thank you for your time and support in our future. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to see you, Ms. Wilkerson. Have a
Thank
good
you.
stay
Well,
safe.
Take care.
Uh,
I have to join the board meeting now. See, it's one to another.
That's right.
Have a good evening.
You too. Next, we'll hear from Mr. Will Myers from the Anne Arundel Association of Educational Leaders. Excuse me.
All right. All right. Good evening, Chairman Pickard and council members. For the record, I am William T. Myers, President of the Association of Educational Leaders, Principal of South River High School, and long-term resident of Anne Arundel County. My organization represents all principals, assistant principals, coordinator of instructional programs, and special assistants for safe and orderly schools. I want to begin tonight by thanking Dr. Alato for his continued support of all school employees. He clearly understands the complexity of our daily work and has strived to provide appropriate resources and compensation for our efforts. I also want to applaud County Executive Pittman. He has been a man of his word when it comes to education and has worked collaboratively with Dr. Alato to provide the most generous education funding possible. You know, the effects of this worldwide pandemic have literally changed our lives. Perhaps what has been made abundantly clear is the importance of our teachers. Just ask any parent who has balanced their workload at home with children who are on an e-learning platform what a teacher is worth to them. My request tonight is pretty simple. Wherever possible, augment the superintendent's budget request. Every employee in our school system deserves a bonus for the amazing job they have done and continue to do. Provide the resources necessary to reduce class size, provide for safe schools, and increase the capacity for counseling and mental health services. Help us keep the strong leadership in our schools. I will conclude with a quote from Malcolm X. He once said, "Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today." I would ask you, the county council members, to help us prepare for the future through your actions today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us this evening.
I'm going to that board meeting myself now.
Oh, goodness. Next, Ms. Lisa Shore, Secretary of the Anne Arundel County Council of PTAs. Good evening, Ms. Shore.
Good evening, Chairwoman Pickard, Vice Chairwoman Lacey, and members of the council. My name is Lisa Shore, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Anne Arundel County Council of PTAs. Thank you for the opportunity to share our priorities and for your thoughtful leadership during these challenging times. It's important to remember that we're in this together and to know that as parents, employees, and community members, we can depend on each other and on our values. Anne Arundel County Public School values were clarified recently in the strategic plan that was developed with community and staff input. This will guide us on the road ahead as we make long-term educational decisions. This year's budget will guide our priorities for the upcoming year and is an important reflection of our more immediate needs. Our County Council of PTAs has a seat and a voice on many AACPS and countywide committees. Priorities this year have included the Mental Health Task Force and the Joint Commission to Eliminate the Achievement Gap. These groups are great examples of how our county can work collaboratively for the benefit of our kids. These two issues must also be priorities in the budget, with an emphasis on staffing at the levels requested by Dr. Alato. Mental health needs were significant prior to the coronavirus, and the needs have increased exponentially with the pandemic's effect on families. Teachers have shown extraordinary flexibility and adjusted to online instruction, many doing this while also taking care of their own children and families. The requested step increases for teachers shows that we appreciate their efforts and value them as professionals. The pandemic has especially affected our special education students. We must prioritize the budget requests for special education staffing to make sure we're serving these children properly. Our guidance counselors and bilingual facilitators have been reaching out to students to make sure that they have the supplies and online access to continue learning during the pandemic. We must prioritize these staffing needs in the budget to continue these efforts now even more than ever. In conclusion, we must continue to work collaboratively to take care of our students and families. Our budget expresses our priorities, and our children are watching how we handle this crisis. We must remember that all means all, and to make a point to reach out to those who are struggling. Let's be patient and kind with ourselves and with each other. When we work together, we can do amazing things for kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shore. I hope you have a good evening, unless you're also headed to the Board of Education meeting next. Thank you so much. Be safe. Next, we'll hear from Mr. Skip Auld, CEO of Anne Arundel County Public Libraries. Good evening, sir.
Hello, Chairwoman Pickard, and hello, everyone. It's good to be with you again. I know we spoke a couple of weeks ago. You have quite a job to do now, and I can't even imagine what it's like going through figuring out this year's budget and where we're going to be going through this coming year. I do have prepared remarks, which I will go ahead and read with you now. So good evening, Council Chair Pickard, Council Vice Chair Lacey, Council members, as well as Anne Arundel County residents. I want to thank you all for allowing me this opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Skip Auld. I have the pleasure of serving as Chief Executive Officer for the Anne Arundel County Public Library System. I'm with you to give a brief update on the library's progress over the last year and to provide our tentative plans for reopening. I want to first say thank you to our loyal customers for your support over the last 3 months. You've sent us messages of encouragement, you've checked out ebooks, you've streamed movies on Canopy, you've tuned into virtual programs, and you've taken advantage of our free online tutoring with BrainFuse. We're so very grateful that you still have the library, even if it is an online library at the moment. Since we closed in March, we've been serving our customers in new ways like daily story times on Facebook and programs for all ages on Zoom. We've ordered tens of thousands of new ebook titles, and we've provided customer access at home to resources like Ancestry.com and our foundation grant database. We have provided e-learning resources to families struggling to support their students who are learning at home. And we're pleased to announce contactless curbside pickup, which will begin June 8th at most of our libraries. Please visit our website, aacpl.net, for details on our curbside service. Again, that starts on Monday, June the 8th. We look forward to seeing everyone back in the library soon. We announced that we were aiming for June 15th. That is a very tentative date that may be unlikely to get our limited services back up and running, but that's what we're aiming for, so it may be pushed out a little further than that. Getting to the budget, we appreciate the county executive keeping our funding fairly stable. We look forward to beginning work on the new Glen Burnie Library in fiscal year 2024. I'd also like to thank Council for your continued support of our libraries. I'm available to take any questions, but I know you have a lot of people waiting in the wings who would like to speak with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Auld. Thank you for joining us this evening. Stay safe.
School board meeting, by the way. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good evening.
Good evening again. This is Allison Pickard, Chair, Council District 2. We'll now hear testimony submitted by members of the public. For the record, all testimony received is currently posted to our website. Madam Secretary, please provide a report and reading of the testimony received from the members of the public on the proposed FY21 County General and Board of Education budget.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We received 25 submissions of written testimony, all of which will be read into the record tonight. Sean Wingard, 8171 Leah Road, Pasadena. I am very appreciative of the efforts of County Executive Pittman in regards to his proposed education budget for Anne Arundel County Public Schools. I realize these are trying times for everyone and hard decisions had to be made. Although his request for a step increase for teachers is a terrific statement concerning his support for teachers and education in the county. I am saddened that once again, the roughly 800 teachers who are behind in salary steps are being ignored. The county has ignored hundreds of teachers who are not being paid what the county's own salary scale states they should be making for over a decade. It is a hard pill to swallow, knowing that teachers with less experience make more than several hundred veteran teachers in the county. I propose no across-the-board experience step to teachers in this county until the several hundred teachers currently not paid a salary commensurate with their experience are made whole. Please use the money earmarked for the across-the-board salary step to instead bring those teachers behind in salary to where they should be. It is, in my mind, the fair and equitable thing to do. It is also the fiscally responsible thing to do, as the cost to bring all teachers up to their current experience step is cheaper than providing one-to-all teachers. Sam Travellini, 1231 Collins Avenue, Odenton. Dear Council, the county has already purchased land for a new West County Elementary School. Funding for the design and planning of the school however, that funding was removed from the recently proposed budget. This is troublesome because West County Elementary is paramount to the education and safety of the children in Two Rivers development and the Forks of the Patuxent, collectively referred to as the 1038B. The Fork surrounds Two Rivers. The school will relieve overcrowding and provide a safely commutable school to a rapidly growing number of children in 1038B. The closest school for the children of 1038B is Crofton Elementary, but our children were redistricted to Piney Orchard. However, neither school has the capacity to properly handle our children, and neither school is safely reachable by any method other than car or bus. Further exasperating the education and safety issues is the rapid growth of 1038B as Two Rivers community is built and the Forks area changes. Two Rivers is slated to be built out by year 2024 with up to 1,260 single-family homes. The Forks area is also rapidly changing from an older community to a community of families. The longer the school is delayed, the worse the problem will get. The time for action is now. Please re-include the funding for the design and planning of West County Elementary to your budget. Thank you. Courtney Stevens, 6419 Lacrosse Lane, Glen Burnie. Good evening. My question is in regards to Anne Arundel County Public Schools operating capital budget. On December 18, 2019, Dr. Arlotto published his remarks for the 2021 capital budget. In that budget, he proposed adding 18 assistant principals and 6.5 school-based secretaries. The new budget for 2021 doesn't have funding for assistant principals, but school-based secretaries were not mentioned. Will the hiring of 6.5 school-based secretaries be approved? If not, why? We are receiving funding to add 16 full-time pre-K/more kindergarten classes, but not enough secretaries to handle the influx of students that enroll all year long. I'm a part-time school-based secretary and I wish I could be full-time. My principal wishes I was full-time because 2.5 secretaries cannot manage 700 plus elementary school students. We as a team were hoping the budget would include hiring more secretaries and I could become full-time to help manage the caseload of working in the school system. The decision to stay with the county comes down to if funding will be given to hire more secretaries. I love my position, but I know other counties have openings for full-time secretaries and are in desperate need for them. Thank you. Brian Setter, 3893 Green Meadow Lane, Davidsonville. I don't understand the $42 million increase. What is being done with the money saved this year from schools being closed for 3 months, utilities, bus drivers, janitorial, etc.? Also, don't see any money budgeted for online education, which needs significant improvement. Please spend responsibly and control your spending. It's not free money. Terrell Johnson, Crucible Court, Millersville. Why, I am not only proud, but also honored to be graduating my third and last child from the Blue Ribbon Broadneck feeder system. Some things will never change, yet some things must change in order to accommodate that which will never change. Very confusing it sounds, but not really. The thing that will never change is the continuing lineages of excellence that Superintendent Arlotto referenced in his presentation. Residents don't move in and out of Anne Arundel County. Residents plant. They plant roots for their future generations. That which must change in order to accommodate this model of excellence and the droves of families still coming into the county is the skill to prioritize compiled with vision and purpose. For example, the current priority is maintaining construction and renovations. Secondly, recovering from the pandemic, not knowing how many children will continue to be homeschooled, changing the need for new hires. Vision should be maintaining current levels of excellence, yet minimizing new programs and initiatives temporarily to share in the cost of increases for teachers and staff. And the purpose should be preparing a cushion or a margin of error, not knowing the droves of new students and migrants to come and not knowing the true extent of the damage from the pandemic. Worldwide economics have changed, guaranteeing prices of goods and services have changed, most likely to increases. Nicole Rumeau, 2844 Broadwing Drive, Odenton. My children have gone to Piney Orchard Elementary School since kindergarten. We recently moved from the Piney Orchard neighborhood to the Two Rivers neighborhood. One of the reasons that I agreed to the redistricting was the plan to build an elementary school for the incoming residents at Two Rivers and adjacent communities to lessen the burden on Piney Orchard. There will be 1,100 all ages homes built in Two Rivers. That could be over 1,000 students with the size of the homes. Piney Orchard cannot possibly accommodate that additional number of students in the long term, regardless of if trailers are added to the school. My children's school will become overcrowded, as Arundel Middle and High School already are, and the quality of their education will decrease along all of the other Piney Orchard kids. With an eye towards increasing social distancing for students in the long term, the overcrowding will not be healthy either. I was shocked to see that change to the budget, especially after promises were made. Elizabeth Apple, 798 Manhattan Beach Road. While I am completely passionate about education and supporting teachers, I was shocked to see there is a raise or step for teachers, considering people are losing their jobs, businesses, etc. I also think it is inequitable for some to get this and not all AACC employees, who were just as hurt by not receiving COLA increases or raises for 4 years around the 2008 time period. Lisa Van Bushkirk, 1053 Cars Wharf Road, Edgewater. Dear County Council members, I'm from Edgewater, representing Start School Later and every Anne Arundel County public school parent or caregiver who has ever been frustrated with school bus transportation. As a 127-page report with 27 recommendations described, Anne Arundel County Public Schools Transportation Office is a mess, to put it lightly. It is inadequately staffed to meet current routing demands and communicates poorly with both internal and external stakeholders. When schools reopen, I am confident that changes to bus procedures will need to be made for safety and public health reasons. If the current transportation staff cannot handle the current operational tempo, how will they successfully think strategically about new busing parameters? Please fully restore funding to Anne Arundel County Public Schools budget for transportation. Restoring funding will necessitate cuts elsewhere. I've not studied the budget in depth as much as you have, but I'm confident you can make strategic cuts to Anne Arundel County Public Schools bloated administration and find the necessary funds. Thank you for your time. Megan McKibben, 1320 Bramble Circle, Odenton, Maryland. I and hundreds of other parents are extremely concerned that West County Elementary has been removed from the budget. The recent redistricting of Arundel clusters put many schools at capacity, namely Piney Orchard, which will receive all of the children from the fast-growing Two Rivers. This was done based on the commitment that an additional school would be built by 2024 to alleviate overcrowding. While I understand that the recent loss of revenue has led to tough decisions, this school can absolutely not be something that is cut. There is nothing more important than our children, and they are not getting a quality education in crowded classrooms. It is well documented that large classroom sizes are detrimental to young children who thrive on individual attention from their teachers. Furthermore, in the age of the pandemic, crowded classrooms are now a health and safety issue. Please reconsider adding West County Elementary School back with the original budget. Our children deserve better. Mina Kim, 8359 Williamstown Drive, Millersville. At Val Bokelin Elementary, a part of Anne Arundel County Public Schools, Ms. Day, my third grade teacher, taught us that if we take good care of the seeds that we planted in class, it would blossom into a beautiful flower that would give way to new seeds that could be planted for more flowers. This sweet memory reflects a wise and widely spoken saying, what we give attention to grows. This is my 16th year in Anne Arundel County Public Schools. For the first 14 years, I was a student. Now in my second year of teaching at North Glen Elementary, I hope to invest more years in this community because I believe in public education and I love the families and the dedicated staff I get to grow and strengthen our community with. I trust that the time, energy, and resources I put into this school will manifest as our future healthcare providers, essential workers, parents and guardians, community leaders, public school staff, and activists, etc., are caretakers and role models for present and future generations. Yet I find myself preparing for disappointment, anger, and deep sadness. I question whether I want to invest in a system that may choose not to invest in public education. Please choose to give attention to public education to grow it into magnificence. Please make it easy for me and many other educators and families to choose Anne Arundel County Public Schools. I envision a humanizing and empowered Anne Arundel County. What do you want to grow? What will you give your attention to? Mark DeMaria, 1316 Bramble Circle, Odenton. Please find a way to slash any unnecessary funding and use that money to fund the new elementary school in Odenton by Two Rivers. This is vital for our children to succeed, reduce poverty, and strengthen our community. Amanda DeMaria, 1316 Bramble Circle, Odenton. We live in the Woodlands hamlet at Two Rivers in Odenton, where a new elementary school has been in the works. I am wondering how the budget does not include funding for the construction of the new elementary school in our area. My husband and I have a 9-month-old that would attend this new school when he is of age. Without it, he and the other young children in our community would be forced to attend overcrowded schools. Larger classroom sizes have proven to have a decidedly negative impact on children's development. Please pass a budget that includes funding for this construction so it can break ground as soon as possible. It's imperative to note that this school may also help stop the development of the proposed landfill in our area, which poses a significant threat to our children's health and environment. It's difficult to imagine an argument for landfill or against a necessary new elementary school. Our children are vulnerable and unable to speak to their needs, so we are their only voice. Please do what's right and what's best for them and make this new elementary school happen. Tiffany Tuttle, 2872 Broadwing Drive, Odenton. I'm a mother to 2 small children who will be attending schools projected to be at the 133% capacity. This is unacceptable. How are children supposed to learn and teachers supposed to reach students whenever their classrooms are over max capacity? West County Elementary School needs to be built. Design funding needs to be added to the FY21 budget. Eliminating this project altogether whenever there are areas that are grossly overfunded is not only appalling, but grossly negligent. I implore you, please put the children first. Please think not only of their futures, but their present safety. Rachel Tannenbaum, 1005 Westway, Annapolis. I would like to begin by thanking the Council for your hard work on the budget thus far. These are unprecedented times, and I fully recognize that you are all genuinely striving to balance the many needs of county residents. Having said that, I would like to request that you reinstate the funds that Anne Arundel Community College has requested for one-time pay stipends and for technological upgrades, which were not included in Mr. Pittman's budget proposal. As the community college, we employ over 2,000 people and educate another 44,000 more annually, mostly county residents. We pride ourselves on providing a top-notch education and continually strive to meet the county's needs. However, we cannot do that without the infrastructure to meet our students' needs and the ability to attract and retain talented and innovative employees. In 2012, the college had money in its budget for faculty and staff raises through careful fiscal management. That year, however, the council did not allow us to put raises in the budget, saying it was an equity concern. Why should college employees get raises when others were not? That is a reasonable argument, but the same should then apply now. It is inequitable for raises or one-time payments to be given to employees at other agencies, but not Anne Arundel Community College. Thank you for your consideration. I'm sorry, Ms. Tannenbaum is the president of the faculty organization at Anne Arundel Community College. Beth Everhart, 7853 Catherine Avenue, Pasadena. To whom it may concern, not that this falls on anyone who has concern at all, because if you did, then you would know that my family is suffering greatly because my husband is not able to work the hours he needs to pay our bills. Your need to hold Anne Arundel County back is being selfish. We are the little people who you don't see that are hurting. I can't go to my church and worship because you said no. We are not allowed in my time of need. I apologize. This seems to be COVID related. However, since I have started reading it, I will continue. We wear masks to shopping shoulder to shoulder at Walmart and no 6 foot social distancing. Please check it out. What am I to do if banks come home? And you can explain that to my kids, why they have no home because you stopped their daddy from working. We are running out of everything we have because of you. Please open Anne Arundel County. Again, my apologies. I did not see that was in here. Michelle Ritter, 3514 Horseman Way. Please make every effort to consider the funding necessary to implement the year-round schooling initiative that review. Joanna Tobin, 609 St. Mulberry Court, Annapolis. I write to urge you to support all education funding containing County Executive Pittman's proposed FY 2021 budget. While the fiscal challenges presented by the COVID-19 crisis are daunting, we cannot afford to limit our children's educational opportunities. As a parent of a senior at Annapolis High School and an educator myself, I know that insufficient funding for our schools will only lead to significant long-term costs, including worse social, emotional, and academic outcomes for our children. When the children of our community lose their opportunities for a brighter future that a great education presents, the entire community loses those opportunities as well. I also urge you to reinstate funding for the added personnel in the County Public School Transportation Department, which included a request for $705,100 to fund 7 router positions and $309,600 for 8 bus aides. The 7 positions to increase routing efficiency were needed to remedy some of the gross inefficiencies and lack of bus contractor oversight revealed by the independent consultant's report on the Transportation Department released in January of 2020. Failing to fund these positions is likely to result in increased costs in the form of continuing inefficiencies. The additional bus aides are desperately needed to ensure that some of our most vulnerable students, children with special education needs, have the support they need to travel to and from school safely and reliably. Dr. Shelley DeBlasis, 457 Shore Acres Road, Arnold. Dear council members, I write to ask you to reconsider your decision to deny Anne Arundel County Community College employees schedule raises while budgeting raises for other county employees. Not only is the proposed action inequitable and unfair, but it also is a bad decision to overlook and even punish some county employees at the beginning of an economic recession and a global pandemic. During the past 2 months, Americans all over the country have experienced firsthand the importance of educators and educational institutions in our everyday lives. Anne Arundel Community College faculty and staff provide necessary educational services in a myriad ways, credit and non-credit courses. To Anne Arundel County, we are an essential part of many people's everyday lives throughout their lifetimes. The hard work of teaching and learning is something that this county should value and invest in by treating educational professionals and Anne Arundel Community College employees fairly and equitably with scheduled compensation raises. It is time for Americans, public officials in Anne Arundel County to publicly and financially value educators, specifically those of us in higher education who help prepare people for the local workforce and provide opportunities for all people in the county and the region to engage in lifelong learning. Please do the right thing and value the work we do by treating us fairly. Sandra King, 510 Tremont Circle, Annapolis. Dear County Council, as a resident of Anne Arundel County for over 40 years and as a faculty member at Anne Arundel Community College, I am distressed by the funding levels for Anne Arundel Community College teachers compared to public school teachers in this year's budget. In addition to the equity issue, money is spent is a statement of value. If teachers at Anne Arundel Community College are given no raises, it feels as if the County Council is saying we aren't worth even a small raise. Please demonstrate your support for the teachers at Anne Arundel Community College by voting to fund teacher pay equitably. Elizabeth Ruddy, 1504 Farlow Avenue, Crofton. As an educator and parent of children in Anne Arundel County Public Schools, I want to express to you my admiration and thanks for the decisions that were made the previous year regarding funding for our schools and teacher compensation. For a decade, teachers in our county have endured the financial impacts of the previous recession. Last year's budget helped to make strides towards erasing years of inequities in salary. I know that due to current circumstances, this year's budget will be complicated, but I ask that you all do not lose sight of the importance of retaining and attracting highly qualified educators. Highly qualified teachers are the ones that will continue to keep learning meaningful and personal. We are the ones that adapted quickly to the challenges the past few months have presented. There are so many elements that made this challenging. The most heart-wrenching for most teachers was that we did not get to interact with our students for several hours a day in person. Please remember that now, more than ever, it is essential to retain and recruit highly qualified teachers that can seamlessly adapt to the challenges of today and tomorrow. Please consider adding more to the budget for compensation to ensure that this happens. Carrie Moran, 266 Lower Magathy Beach Road, Severna Park. Health assistants employed by Anne Arundel County make at most $19,003 a year. A single mother would be considered below the poverty line. They cannot accrue sick time or retirement benefits. The salary is the same when working 1 year versus 20 years for the county. Seasoned staff are not given incremental raises. They maintain their certifications as nursing assistants and medical technicians. They treat and care for not only minor illnesses and ailments, but also emergency situations, help manage chronic health conditions, and provide support for mental health in the school, all while making less than $15 an hour. Their salary is not on par with local counties, and I would not consider increasing their salary a raise. It is a correction for a group of dedicated staff who have been undervalued and underpaid for several years. Currently, both health assistants and nurses are working in other roles, including strike teams, phone bank, and contact tracing for COVID-19. The contact tracing is usually successful for our county. The health assistant support is one of the main reasons the nurses can effectively reach out to the volume of people they do. When school finally does return, their job is going to become even more challenging in managing the fears of students, school staff, and parents. They will continue to be the face of calm and caring in the school building. I strongly encourage you to fully fund a proposed pay increase for our invaluable school health staff. And that concludes the, oh no, I apologize, I have 3 more. India Oaks, 50 Greystone Court, Annapolis. Dear County Council members, I'm a resident of Annapolis and District 6 Board of Education candidate. I truly appreciate all you have done as a council to navigate our county through this global pandemic. I am writing today to request additional funding for the positions listed in my extended public comment emailed earlier today, which will support our students' mental health, English language acquisition, and transportation needs for the following reasons. Mental health was already critical prior to COVID-19, and now the traumatic impact of the shutdown on thousands of our students will have long-term effects. School counselors and psychologists already had caseloads far exceeding their ability to support all in additional mental health staff, thousands of our students will continue to suffer anxiety, fear, and stress, factors that impact their ability to learn. Prior to COVID-19, students with limited English had the highest gaps in graduation rates and absenteeism. Now, students are struggling because parents cannot navigate Google Classrooms due to their own language barriers. We need more English language acquisition teachers so these gaps do not continue to widen. Finally, given the prior state of Anne Arundel County Public Schools transportation system, we cannot rely on current staff to effectively navigate the aftermath of COVID-19. The inclusion of additional transportation staff, including one to oversee a new GPS system, will help establish safe and reliable transportation and move towards healthy school start times in preparation of schools reopening to a new normal. And Linda Mazer, who is the Vice President, Friends of Anne Arundel County Animal Care and Control, Dividing Creek Road, Arnold, Maryland. Friends of Anne Arundel County Animal Care and Control, the nonprofit created by shelter volunteers to help its homeless animals, submits the following testimony on behalf of its entire board. We thank the County Council and County Executive Pittman for listening to the shelter needs that we outlined during the January budget town halls. Most of you toured the shelter after those hearings and saw its needs firsthand. Thank you for doing so. We deeply appreciate that the proposed budget includes a new position for a shelter rescue volunteer foster coordinator, a truly life-saving job. One happy related note is that more than 125 local families have signed up to be shelter fosters since mid-March. Animal Care and Control continues to have so many unmet needs. The fiscal year 21 budget, for example, increases funds for animal food from $10,000 to $13,000. This just doesn't cover what it costs to shelter and feed 5,000 plus animals each year. We have helped supplement its food budget in recent years by getting an annual grant of $11,000 worth of food from Purina, but Purina recently denied our request for a fourth year of funding. The shelter's homeless animals, however, still need to eat. Again, thank you for taking the time this year to learn about the good work Animal Care and Control does and how it could do so much more adequately funded. Should there be a way to add more funds to our budget, our first priorities would be more funds for outside medical services such as surgery and urgent emergency care. The proposed budget calls for increasing this line item from $15,000 to $20,000. However, the shelter spent the $15,000 before fiscal year 20 was half over, and only to use outside vets to treat and document animal cruelty abuse cases. Our nonprofit spent another $55,000 last year on outside medical care, most of that to save the lives of other animals at the shelter who otherwise would have been euthanized to end their suffering. Additional funds for laboratory supplies proposed to decrease by $2,000 in fiscal year 21, and for medical supplies, no change in funding in the current budget. The shelter requires adequate funding to fully stock medicines used at the shelter, including such basics as the monthly flea and tick medications. So many animals enter the shelter covered in these pests. Finally, an adequate budget to feed all the animals for the entire fiscal year, at least 10,000 more than is now budgeted. Final testimony, I will need to use the timer. Dr. Lori Perez, Department Chair, Psychology, Anne Arundel Community College. Dear County Council, as you consider the budget in these tremendously difficult times, I'd like you to reconsider your position on providing salary increases for Anne Arundel County public school employees, but not Anne Arundel Community College employees. As a faculty member who underwent 5 years without a raise during the last recession, it was truly disheartening to see that when the money was finally available in the county budget, this was actually cut because the council stated it would not be fair for Anne Arundel Community College employees to have a raise if Anne Arundel County Public Schools could not. In fact, it was stated it would be an equity issue. Yet here we sit again, but the tables are turned, and now, for some unknown reason, it is not an equity issue when Anne Arundel Community College employees are affected. At that time, our budget was cut and we were forced to take furloughs. I can assure you that as a faculty member, we are doing all that is possible at this juncture to be extremely fiscally conservative. As a department chair with a very small budget, under $1,000 to begin with, I have cut all spending for teaching supplies for my 40 faculty, which includes our amazing adjuncts. We are committed as faculty to take furloughs rather than see any of our valuable staff cut. We understand that the dire state that our county faces, and we feel it just as intensely as any other Anne Arundel County resident. Before you make your final decision, consider this. Many people assume college professors earn much more money than school teachers. I left K through 12 in 2003. At that time, I decided to take a $25,000 pay cut to begin as a faculty member, earning just $35,000 per year. Our salary scale mirrors the public school teachers' salaries. Starting salary for an instructor at AACC is $49,000, and for a public school teacher, the starting salary is just under $48,000. This pattern is similar in its growth over time as well. We serve a significant number. I will finish the sentence. We serve a significant number of Anne Arundel County residents in both our degree-seeking programs and our career and continuing education programs. And Madam Chair, that concludes the testimony submitted.
Thank you so much, Madam Secretary. This is Allison Pickard, Chair D2. Thank you so much, Madam Secretary, for taking the time to read all of that, and appreciate all the public testimony provided. As was stated earlier this evening, it can also be found on our website, correct? Madam Secretary? Yes, great. Thank you. The public hearing is now closed. Is there any other business to be brought before the County Council at this time? Seeing none, I did want to take a moment to thank profusely the County Council staff, Ms. Gray, Ms. Corby, and those behind the scenes that are working tirelessly to keep this council running virtually. It's been a long haul in the last 8 weeks, and I hope you get a little bit of a weekend this holiday weekend. So thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
Councilman Pruski, so moved.
May I have a second?
Councilwoman Rod Van second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. The County Council is adjourned until 9 a.m. on Friday, May 22nd, 2020, for our emergency legislative session to hear and vote on Bill 4120. Have a great night and stay safe.